So let's look at the secretion and reabsorption that takes place in the nephrons, or let me say the tubules of the renal or the urinary system. We have already done a little discussion of how it works, but today I want us to look at the secretion and reabsorption, how it takes place, and the substances that it secretes and reabsorbs, understanding what even this means and the process of how it occurs, so that we can picture it to make it easy for us, right? So first of all, let's look at the definition of secretion and reabsorption. Now, when we talk of secretion, secretion is the process whereby substances are actively transported from the blood into the renal tubules, that is the tubes of the urinary system. Remember, renal also means urinary. Into the urinary tubules or renal tubules to be eliminated in urine. It simply means that when we talk of the word secretion, it's talking about substances. Substances are coming out of the blood into these particular tubes that is going to form urine, or that is actually filtering your blood to bring urine. So some substances are moving from the blood into the tubes that carry the urine, and the process where these substances are moving from the blood into these tubules or the urinary tubules is what we term as secretion. Good. And reabsorption is the movement of useful substances from the renal or urinary tubules back into the blood. Now, have you seen the difference? This secretion is from the blood to the tubules, that is the renal tubules, then into the as urine or into the urine. Then this simply means from the tubule back to the blood. So it's the opposite of the other. When some substances are moving from the blood into the renal tubules, that is called secretion. And substances are moving from the renal tubules, these are the tubes, back into the blood, it's called reabsorption. That is the simple idea to get under secretion and reabsorption as we move on. Now, let's see what happens. I've done some diagram. This is actually the nephron of the urinary system, that's the kidney, found in the kidney, how it works, and eight parts. Now, you see that I've done an arrow here, and I've done an arrow here. Also, over here, I've done one arrow down, one arrow up. Now, the arrow that is showing in shows secretion, meaning that it's moving from the blood into the renal tubules. And the one that you see moving this way is telling that it's moving out of the renal tubules into the blood. So that is the meaning of all these arrows I've made here for you to understand when I'm explaining. So when we are looking at the things that secretes and the things that reabsorb in various parts of the tubules, or let me see, the nephrons. So we look at the first tubule. I've already explained this once in the first part. So proximal convoluted tubule, this part, which I explained that the reason why it's called proximal is because it's near, and the reason why it is called convoluted is because it's coiled. It is coiled. That is why they call it convoluted. That is a word or a synonym word for it. So proximal convoluted tubule, this part, it secretes hydrogen ions. Now, when you see the H plus, the plus on top means it's an ion. If you just see H, it's hydrogen. This is different from this. So this is called hydrogen ion. So the proximal convoluted tubule secretes hydrogen ions, ammonium ions, drugs, and toxins. These are the things that are being secreted, simply meaning that it is moving from the blood into the tubule, that is the proximal convoluted tubule. So these substances are not needed in the body, and it is seen also as poisonous. So it's coming back into the tubules to be eliminated in the urine, or to be part of the urine to come out of the body. Then it reabsorbs, meaning that it sends back water and glucose into the blood, because this water and glucose is very important in the blood. You know, glucose is for energy, water is for regulation of the body temperature, and also some substances are carried by water to make you live. So that is for the PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. It secretes hydrogen ions, ammonium ions, drugs, and toxins, and it reabsorbs water, glucose into the blood or into the body back. That is for the PCT. Then let's come back into the next type of tubule over here that also secretes, known as the distal convoluted tubule. This one, DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Now, what is the function of the distal convoluted tubule? The distal convoluted tubule also undergo the secretion and the absorption I explained earlier on. Secretion, which I said that substances are moving from the blood into the kidney or the tubules to be eliminated by the urine. So in the distal convoluted tubule, which is the DCT, it secretes potassium ions and hydrogen ions from the blood into the tubules, into the distal convoluted tubule. Then it will reabsorb or send back sodium ions and calcium ions, which are needed by the blood. It will reabsorb it or send it back to the blood to be used. So that is for the distal convoluted tubule. So you have to take note of that. So PCT secretes this and reabsorb water and glucose. The DCT, which is the distal convoluted tubule, which I've explained to you already, the distal means that it is the end point. The word distal means end. Convoluted means it's coiled, as I've said. So the end of the tube is here, that is the end. And this is the beginning, near. That's why it's called proximal. I've explained that already. So the distal convoluted tubule, end coiled tubule, that is the coiled part. The reason why it is called the convoluted means it's coiled. This part secretes potassium ions and hydrogen ions. Then it will reabsorb or send back sodium ions and calcium ions back into the blood. That is for the DCT. Then we look at the next aspect that also secretes and reabsorb. That is the collecting duct. After the distal convoluted tubule, it comes into the collecting duct. So in this collecting duct connects to the renal tubes, which will send the urine send the urine through the ureter. Then it will go and store in the bladder until it comes out of your body. So before it goes there, it will also perform a secretion and a reabsorption at this place. So the potassium ions and hydrogen ions that were stubborn, that were not able to be secreted from the blood into the distal convoluted tubule, when they get into the collecting duct, this excess potassium ions and hydrogen ions will be secreted in the blood from the blood again into the collecting duct to go into the to form or to be part of the urine or to go into the urine so that it will be removed from the body. So these are the main parts of the tubules and the things they secrete and reabsorb: the PCT, the DCT, and the collecting duct. Then the substances they secrete is what I've written near it, and the things that they reabsorb into the system is what I've written around it. So this is how secretion and reabsorption occur in the urinary system or the nephrons specifically, and how the substance they secrete and reabsorb at various tubules of it.